Time for another episode of Shenanigans with Chris, Benny, and the Third Stringers Hunting Show. I
What
made that up
the heck?
myself. I made that up myself just now. Let's go. Time's a wasted. Listen, Benny was telling a good story that we can't really put on the air. So
I'll
Yeah.
tell it. That don't matter to me. I
yeah,
think
tell
that
the
we need
story.
to, yeah, we need to stop all this nonsense. So
Uh,
today
we
at
we
the
go ahead.
today at the food wagon, we call it the weenie wagon. It's called Bar Ditch Bistro, but this young guy, he's zipping up and down the street on a little electric. Oh my gosh, look at Jared. He looks all cranky. But
Well,
he had
he
Where is he? That piece of shit.
so this kid's
We're
ripping up and
fighting
down
right
the
now.
street on an electric scooter, and I mean this scooter will run. He can outrun traffic, and he's got a little box on his back, so figure he's delivering pizzas or something. Well, he makes a swoop into our parking lot, and he stops there and he says, "What do you all got to sell? What are you fixing in there?" And I said, "Well, there's a menu laying right there. You just look it over." He says, "What kind of bread is that?" I said, "Fry bread." He said, "What the heck is fry bread?" I said, "You never had any fry bread from the Navajos or the Apaches?" Or he said, "I never heard of that." So I got him a piece of fry bread. And then he says, "I'm looking at that." He says, "And you got barbecue brisket on there." He says, I said, "Well, it just says green chili brisket. But yeah, it's smoked brisket." He says, "Oh, that concerns me." I said, "Why is that?" He says, "Well, I don't want to," and this kid's probably 20, 21 years old. And he says, "I don't want to bring race into it. It's not about race." He said, "But I'm black." Well, it wasn't obvious. He didn't fall off in a bunch of roofing tar. But he said, I said, "Well, okay." I said, "I get it." I said, "I understand the social stuff and food cultures and all of that." I said, "But when it comes to brisket, turns out I'm black too." And he looked, and I said, "Guys, get this young man a piece of brisket." So I gave him some sauce. I said, "Here, squirt this on your finger and tell me what you think of that barbecue sauce." He said, "Where'd you get it?" I said, "Out of my own kitchen." And he put that on his finger and he licked it and he says, "Man, if that brisket's like this barbecue sauce, you might be black." And so he took a bite of that brisket and he says, "Oh man." He says, "Just as like going back home." He says, "Yeah." He says, "I believe that you've had some black influence." He says, I'll take me a whole brisket plate right now and I'm paying you for it." So he absolutely was not an African American. He told me, "I'm an American, I'm black, but when I say I'm black, everybody spazzes out." I said, "The white people spazz out the worst, don't they?" He said, "They do. They're stupid." I said, "Well, looking at you, you're not light black." He says, "No, I'm black." So in the midst of all the hatred and BS in our society, there's a young 20-something-year-old man doing DoorDash in Artesia, New Mexico that's just first class.
Hey, I got it. I got one of them stories, kinda. Because I got a new company I'm working for, and went into the office and I was putting in some information to get paid as a subcontractor, and she's going through it, and she marks a male. I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't you misgender me?" So she kind of laughed at me, and then gets down to the race part, says white, and I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! No, no, you can't just assume I'm white." And she goes, "Well, I'm half black, and my last name is Watson too." I said, "Then why would you think I'm not black?" So yeah, we had a little conversation with that. I said, "My daddy could be your daddy. You never know." But I've known a lot of black Watsons. Never know. But
Well, I missed
that's a
the
that's a
opportunity.
girl that's a girl that's half black and isn't a. She even has purple hair, and she wasn't all crazy about it. She's a really funny girl. Didn't give a crap. So every time she answers the phone or she calls me or anything, I say, "Hey, this is the male Chris Watson." So
I did
people,
miss an opportunity. I thought about it as soon as he left. I should have asked him when he said he was black. I should have said, "Really? On your mom's side or your dad's side?" He'll be back tomorrow. He really wants some more brisket. And he said, "So where did you learn to make this Indian country?" I said, "Turns out I'm half Navajo too."
Be whatever you want if you pay for it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Jared, are you back in Arizona yet?
I am.
It feel
How's that
good?
horse treating you?
He's all right. He likes to argue, but he ran off on me today a little bit. I couldn't stop him, but I was also on a driveway, and I didn't want to yank his head out and lose his feet from him. So
You know what I do when they run off on me? I spur them
What?
and make them run until they want to stop, and then I don't let them stop.
oh, I let him go where he wanted to. He went and said hi to his buddy, and then we went into the soft dirt and we did some loping, huh? But
Yep. We had a horse that did the same thing. No matter what I put in, long prong. I had horrible bits in his mouth, and one day he tried to take off, and I spurred him across that field until he wanted to stop, and then when he wanted to stop, I kept going.
well, if I wasn't in a driveway with rocks, I don't want to stone bruise him.
Yeah. You're more caring than I am.
I know.
Wait, what did?
We went
Go.
off some steep stuff today.
You gonna hunt
Not
off
super
of him
steep.
this year?
Huh?
You gonna hunt off of him?
Hope so. I mean, we still got some shit to figure out, but
Yeah.
before I take Doc, I'd like to have him a little bit better, but he ain't bad right now. He's pretty close to being able to hunt off of.
Ride him
It's
20
just-
miles out and have Sarah pick you up with the horse trailer.
Yeah, that's for the plan a little bit, but hunt in the morning out of the truck, and then we usually it's getting hot up here still. It's in the 90s, so we're done by noon, and I usually get on him for a couple hours in the evening. Then I got a 15-year-old Mustang that he does pretty good, but he ain't too bad either. I got to put some more miles on him. He's a little fat right now, but
I'm doing a little work on the res. Yes, Monday, I passed a couple Mustangs I'd like to pick up, but
I didn't know
Both
they
of
had
them-
any left on the res. They're
Well,
all
way
off
down-
and everywhere
no,
else.
to Odom.
Oh,
And some of them I don't think were on the res. They got off the res. They were on this side,
where were you by Toto Odom?
way down south, like almost to Sells.
Okay,
Yeah, I got to go there in the morning again too.
gotcha.
So, yep.
But yeah,
Oh.
no, I thought I'd jump on real quick while we're taking a break. He's not sweating too bad or nothing yet. It's just figured it was 6 o'clock. Come in and say hi real quick.
Are
What are
you
you guys
back
talking
home?
about?
We talking about Benny bridging cultural gaps with his food.
Right on. Yeah,
Are you back home or are you up north?
I'm up north.
Yeah.
Well, Prescott, Williams. I'm up here with Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not in Tucson?
No.
Nope. He kind of inspired me for my topic today,
Me or Brandon?
Brandon,
What'd he say?
about that dog.
Shit happens. I mean, I've seen it a lot.
Well, I think the thing with Brandon too is he pays attention to his dog. A lot of guys don't pay attention to their dog.
No.
You know, they don't eat, or like right now, Dirty, he's 11 and he's not eating. You know, very slow. He eats really slow.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's gonna. You know, some days he eats slow, some days he eats fast.
Just like what Brandon's deal was. Yeah, that when that dog ain't eating for a couple days or a day, you got to take him in when they don't eat. But sometimes you just have a dog wake up dead. Hey,
I hope that. Look at that son of a gun just slobbered on me.
he's a puppy dog. God dang, I got that other Mustang Saturday, and he hasn't hung out with any horses for a while. And he is a bloody sour son of a gun every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad, not terrible. I mean, you can ride it out of him and do a couple lopes with him, and he'll be like, "All right, I'm done." But he's doing good. Right now, I'm just trying to make the mountains fun because we had an okay first trip out, but on the way back, he was starting to argue. He's starting to get tired.
Get a couple 200 miles on him, he'll be good to go.
Yep.
When you step off of him and his nose drags the dirt, waiting to get a chance to get in the pen or in the trailer, you know
When he
you're
wants to
starting to
go
make
load
head.
up.
Yeah, you're making headway.
Yep. I need to get on. I need some days like that. I need maybe one of these windy days when it's super windy all day. I won't hunt while I'm down up here and just ride him all day till he's got sweat coming off his hooves.
That's what I'm saying. Have Brandon drop you off somewhere and ride home.
Well, he's got pretty big country. I mean, I could spend a whole day in here.
Yeah, but it's not rough enough and it's not up and down enough. And the 90 degrees is perfect. He needs to have sweat running down a stream
Yep.
off of his cinch, down off the bottom.
Yep.
Gotta get them wet schools tight, man.
Wet saddle blanket fixes a lot.
Yes, sir.
But,
Trying to download that.
since you
picture,
guys are
Gene.
since you guys are telling me I gotta go sweat them, I better go do something while I still got daylight.
See you,
Sounds good.
Jared.
Where's Brandon? Where's Brandon at?
I don't know where the heck he is. I haven't seen him for an hour. I've been down here riding this war pony.
What about the Irishman?
He was out
I
hunting
called
today.
him.
He said he's gonna try to make it in.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with him about 2 hours ago. So,
Yeah.
I sent him a thing. Did you see that guy in Sarita at the city council meeting?
No.
He was saying we got to get rid of all the gingers
Really.
at a city council meeting. So I sent it to Dustin. And I'm like, well, I guess you can't come lion hunting with me down on the border. They kicked you out. I'll send it to you tonight. But all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. I'll jump on after I get him unsaddled and everything.
Sounds
All
good.
right, buddy.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
See if I can load that. I'm trying to load that
Yeah,
video.
Rick Cooley had quite a construction project going on just to see what his dogs had made up.
I'll have to play it because unless I change the format of it, it won't let it load. Let me find it. Everybody sends me these videos when I'm on and it's slow going here. I never
Well,
thought I
that
was
was
smart.
that was my fault. I just told him.
Let me see here. Hang on. Let me get it fixed here. Move it where I can see it. Okay, here we go. Let me try it. Share screen.
All I can see is Derek.
Can you see? Can you see it now?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Look at that. Talk about a jam.
Yeah.
So Rick had to completely dismember and disassemble that whole deal.
Yeah. That's how it ends up sometimes, right? It's not always
But he
easy.
did it. It's like chopping down a big, huge cottonwood tree in the bottoms that's been down there in the coulees for, 90 years, about 8 feet across with an axe so
Yeah.
you can get a coon out. Rick didn't have to work that hard. I mean, maybe he felt like it, but it wasn't the same kind of deal. But they did get him a cat out of there.
Did
A Bob cat.
does dogs get tetanus?
I don't know.
Ooh. Yes, I think so. I never seen it, but I believe there's
We've
a shot.
never. I mean, do they get a tetanus shot at all? Does anybody
They-
ever give their dogs a tetanus shot?
I never have.
No.
They do. I think one does exist, but I've not ever
Yeah, but hell, they probably got a ingrown hair shot for a dog too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You just never hear
Fifi might
anybody
not
talking
feel again.
about tetanus. You see, you
No.
should look it up.
Well, because I've never seen a dog with lockjaw. They're always blabbling.
Does a dog get tetanus? Let's see. Yes, dogs can get tetanus, a serious neurological disease caused by bacteria found in the environment. While dogs are less susceptible than humans, and horses, the bacteria can enter a dog's body through a wound, such as a puncture wound or cut. Symptoms include muscle stiffness, spasms, and difficulty with movement or eating.
I get that
Mm.
pretty regular at the end of the day.
That's
Sounds
just
like
old
fun.
age, ain't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, why didn't anybody ever talk about tetanus shot?
It probably don't
Well,
happen very often.
well, you
Yeah.
just said it. Now your phone's going to be sending you messages.
I know. All kinds of crap. So, anyways.
So you're talking something about a dog. What are you doing with your dog?
What do
You said
people do?
Brandon. Do
What's
what?
that?
You said Brandon
Brandon
instigated
had a
your,
dog get a bunch of foxtails in the lungs and got all infected. It had died.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's
You know, and
a
I was
serious
saying
deal.
you don't even know when that happened. When did that happen? You know what I mean? Did it happen 6 months ago? Did it happen 2 weeks ago? You know, that thing could have sat in there forever and then like lodged over and then got infected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, they get. How many times have you had your dog cut by barbed wire? But you're right. I mean, how many dog? And then you know what? It's kind of crazy. Is how many dogs have you had just die for no reason too? Like you were saying. Shoot, that could be any infection. You know, like the way Yucky died. It was really weird. And shoot, maybe he got stepped on a nail or got cut by rusty barbed wire.
Yeah. They're so tough that it ain't like us, we're like something's wrong, I better check it out. They'll be fine until the last minute a lot of times.
Well, and that other dog Brandon had died. They never found out what was wrong with it. It just stowed up and died. You know, dirty or yucky. It's kind of the same situation. He just got sick real quick, and then almost act like parvo
And
out of the
mine
blue. And he was 4 or 5 years old.
mine this spring was like that. Just real fast, but he had damage to his heart. He got squished up by a bear real bad before I got him 2 times, I think. And I think he had some internal damage and he just succumbed to it after a while.
Well, I mean, it could be heartworms. It could be anything.
We don't think about that kind of stuff. Like Derek just mentioned, that dog had been smacked pretty hard a couple times by a bear. He could have succumbed to some kind of, at
Yeah.
very least, he could shorten his lifespan.
Mhm.
I wonder about Cody King with that big gnarly scar going down his arm. That was a pretty serious situation.
Out of the blue.
What?
Woke
Yeah.
up. Just
So
woke up, and there it is.
what's the chance that that's got some lingering effect, 20 years from now, 30 years from now?
Eric, my wife is laughing at you right now.
Why is that?
I don't know.
That's pretty regular around here, though.
We always pick on Derek. Why have a Russian around when you can't pick on him? No, and I think
I'm getting pretty close to being able to talk good enough just to come on here for 5 minutes and not speak no English.
the camera's not a
Oh,
mirror. Derek has a habit of going like this with his
Yeah, I
I do
play
the
with
same
my hair
thing.
all the time.
My beard sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but if I was playing with my beard, his wife would be saying something else to him. I have a picture with his wife, me and her at the hound cell, the horse, hounds, and mule cell.
I seen a fella that was at the rendezvous last weekend. Uh, not this past, but the one before up at Greens Peak, and I cannot remember his name. I believe he bought that pistol, but I don't know.
Oh, the one with the crappy Chevy,
Yeah, he got kind of an older truck. Yeah,
the gray Chevy.
I think. Yeah. I couldn't
I
remember.
like how you said kind of older. It's a piece of crap. It looks like a drug runner truck. That's why he always gets pulled over. That's Jacob.
Okay.
Yeah, they run around over there. Yeah, I mean, how many people have been bit by coons trying to save their puppy? But you listen, you listen to a lot of these old timers like C.J. Prock and Ollie Barney, and every one of them say the same thing when they get a new pup: is I spend time with them. I spend time with them. Same thing with, I think Van Johnson was on Houndsman XP. Same thing. They just spend time with them. I didn't know Van Johnson wrote some books.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
I didn't know it.
Something about rigging and something about I think it's all bear hunting.
I took it in the shorts by Van Johnson on a third-party dog deal, so that was good enough for me. Pound sand, Mr. Johnson.
He done a lot of hunting. I know a
That's
lot of
true.
people got dogs from him.
That's good.
But
And
if you also
my
listen to all these,
experience,
a lot of
it
people
only
that
takes one.
do a lot, a lot of these guys, and if you just listen to all those old timers on their interviews, all of these really good guys, I don't think it's necessarily just I'm a natural houndsman, but a lot of these guys like Van Johnson and Warner Glenn, all these guys, Rick Dickerson, they all worked for the USDA or the forestry or the state, and that's what they got to do. They got to run their dogs a lot. They had to run their dogs a lot.
That's what makes dogs.
And I think if most of your normal houndsmen have other jobs. Even your big outfitters, they're elk hunting. Once bear and lion or bear shuts down or whatever, they're lion hunting. Even the Nichols, they don't just run dogs; they do deer and elk, and a lot of these other
Yeah,
guys.
but the Nichols run their dogs out of their living room, so
Yeah,
that's a different deal when you can leave the yard with your dogs.
yeah.
My dogs were in the best shape of their lives when I had a ranch in the Guadalupes, and I didn't leave the house without those hounds in tow.
Whether you were hunting or not, you took them.
That's exactly right. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we started hunting anyway.
I reckon a guy can make the best dogs he can make to buy. Most guys don't get too many dogs than they got time for. And right, most people, not everybody gets to hunt 7 days a week, whatever. But if you can hunt the guts out of your dog, then you don't need any more if that takes all your time. You know what I mean? There ain't no sense in having dogs fresh on Sunday night when you got to go to work Monday morning.
Well, and a lot of these guys only got one puppy at a time. I think it was Ollie Barney that said that. He only got one. Maybe it was his dad, or maybe I was listening. I mean, I've been listening to so many podcasts, driving a lot. But same thing. He said, dad only got one dog. Said it's no use training two at a time. Just train one.
I can
There's
see
no,
that.
yeah, but where's the challenge in that?
You don't have to do nothing, and
No,
I think you'll have a better dog. Even like once my dogs get older, and I get new pups, I'm still going to leave the old dog at the house and make that new pup figure it out by himself. I believe you make a lot better dog that way They don't rely on that old dog.
I kind of dumped my dogs a little early because I remember I had Pato and I had Vaca. Pato got killed by bees. And we started at a mountain and I picked them. They were 4 months old and I just kind of let them run with me and the dogs took off and they took off. And shoot, they made it 1.5 miles. I ended up cutting them off and picking them up because they had fell behind, but they were still at 4 months trying to keep up,
Yep.
Yapping a little bit. So a lot of people say don't do it till you're 6 months, but I think every dog's different regardless. There's some dogs that will go at 4 months or some dogs that won't go to their 8 months.
And then you hear about guys that are talking about they wouldn't go till they were 18 months. I'll never see that because I won't feed them that long if they're not going to get after it.
Let me see.
You're going to have to get some age to get a little wisdom on you. That attitude right there is going to pass up a lot of good dogs.
I know, and it may very well, but I just can't. I'm so limited, I got 3 days a week to hunt. I can only hunt so many dogs. I can't have 4 or 5 of them waiting on them to mature. I just can't. I can't do it.
Well, I always got puppies, and I got 11-year-olds, I got 9-year-olds, I got 6-year-olds, I got 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, I got 3-year-olds, I got 1.5-year-olds. And then I got, speaking of, he asked any report, that red dog I got, she's going to be a good little booger, man. She loves to hunt. Now, the one I got from Kenny's lazy, just really lazy, but he's starting to come out of that where when I throw food, I go outside and I got a bunch of where I rendered down that bear grease. I got all that bear curd and, the chitlins, whatever, or what do they call those? Cracklins. Yeah. And I'll take a little handful out and I'll throw them in the yard. Whoop! Get them to come to me. And that at first, that Kenny dog, not Casey's dog, he would follow that other dog, Casey's dog, around, So he'd follow that dog around, and wherever she went, he'd try to snag it up. But then he started figuring out she was faster than him. So he started to work a little bit more. So now when I'm throwing it out there, he's running around kind of doing it on his own now. But the black and tan, my sister got. What's that?
We have a rattlesnake, please.
I got to go out on snake patrol. Look at Tim B's comment.
Train 2 at a time and it makes him compete. I kind of agree with that too, Tim, because I usually so I have in my collection of dogs, which I kind of screwed up and I know this, is I usually keep 2 dogs out of a litter so I can keep one and get rid of the other, and I never get rid of the other, and they end up being pretty good hunting partners. So I got Cecilia and Lucy. They're my first litter out of my Dirty Frosty. I got Ben and Bella. They're my next litter out of, I don't know, and it just ends up, Lucy and Cecilia are my only pair of females, and then Ben and Bella, they're my 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. And then I got Halado and Mirosny, and they're my 2-year-olds. And they're all say mommy and daddy. So that's why I had to kind of outsource. But every time I had a litter and I kept a couple, they did good. I mean, they all tree. They all go. The only problem is Dirty does most of the work. So now Dirty's just rigging, and I'm letting dogs down. If not with them, I'll let them down first and watch them run around like dummies. Then I'll let Dirty down. Because they'll run around and like, what am I doing? And when Dirty gets down and takes that track, they go with them and say, oh, shit, that's what we're doing. But when you have an old dog you rely on, and then I had a second, and that was Yucky. And he was already coming up and doing all the rig stuff. And I could probably rig him, turn him down, and he'd go. And he was way faster than Dirty. Dirty slowed down tremendously. Vaca's 8 years old and she's slow, but when she takes it with Dirty, she goes in and out and like just cuts that track back and forth. So what sometimes she'll do is when Dirty takes around a mountain, she'll go the opposite way and catch that trail, and I'll see him come around and take that trail behind her. So it's kind of a cool little system. But
That's what my gray dog done that last weekend. They took it round the mountain like this, and it was junk. I mean, they took it round the mountain, and he come this way and hit that joker nose on, and up she daisy right then.
But when I listen to all those old podcasts, I feel like I'm doing a lot what they do. I do take my pups with me. If I went to the Dollar Tree in my 80 Toyota and it's the puppy can't get out of it. I can close my doors on my 80 Toyota and it's all screened. So they can't get out. So I kind of call it my puppy training truck. And I'll throw them in there and take them with me. And they've all rode in the front of the truck. They've rode in the car to the bus stop. And right now they're just running loose in my yard. So, which is kind of how I got this job I'm doing right now, because I came back from hunting elk and the neighbor's like, Chris, come over here. And they had one of my pups that followed me out like 4 a.m. So, but that's a lazy dog. That one from Kenny. He's a lazy dog. He loves to be lazy. So we'll see how he works out.
I do. I listen to them old timers, and I find myself not doing most of that. But I got my weird Eastern ideas, I just did it the way I know. It works for me. I feel like as long as the dog suits the fella, that's all that matters.
And when I train my puppies, I usually have my stuffed animal I spray scent on. Bear and lion, whatever I got, it don't matter to me. I get them playing with it. So I usually just use one or the other scent. And once I get them competitive with playing with the scent, the stuffed animal and fighting over it, and and then I'll do a drag out. I live right next to like state land and stuff. So then I'll do a drag out in state land there. And most time they'll just kind of putt around at first, and then one will smell it and the other one will run over there to do it. But I think you're right. The competition is pretty good. So, and I think it's good for them. Even when I have my own litter, I don't necessarily take dogs from other people. But how do you turn down Terrell Shelley dogs and Hendrix lines, and you know what I mean? Any kind of line. So I'm hoping to intertwine that with my Salazar line, because my son-in-law is at work and he has a dog box in his truck now. That's a story within itself. $1,000 2007 Dodge, won't start, won't do nothing. Security crawls under it, put the readers on it, nothing, can't figure it out. Crawls under it. There's a wire touching the exhaust, and he pulls it off. The exhaust starts right up. So then the tranny's feeling weird, slipping and not changing gears. Takes it in, $500. It was just like a wiring harness deal. So for $1,500 altogether, I think is what it cost. He has a hunt truck, and I had a dog box. So now he has a dog box in there. And you know how it is when, I don't know if it's how it was in the old days. Half of those guys probably didn't have dog boxes because you listen to like Van Johnson, all them talk about the 70s, like rigging just came around like later on, 80s, 90s, I believe. He was,
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Yeah, popular wise, right? And
well, people didn't go down the road with their dogs in the car or in the pickup.
No, they walked canyons. They rode horses. They talk about wearing their horses out, and even Van Johnson talked about running the horses down there by the rim and hearing cars hit their brakes and skid, and they go down and they cross that freeway and there's cars sideways because the dogs ran across, and everybody hit their brakes. And there was no anti-lock back in the 80s, 70s, you know what I mean?
No.
You locked your brakes up and you knew it.
There was blue smoke, and people ate steel dashboards.
And that's romantic and all. The Warner Glenn and the John Clumps. Oh man, damn it! I don't know if I saved that, Benny. I have to check my phone. Someone knows the Clumps down there, and it says something about the Clumps lock up every gate on state land. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The clump,
Oh,
There's
it's a
a
clump property when it's,
Yeah, it's like every the clumps was every gate within 5 miles of their place, and it's like lock it up, lock it up, lock it up.
man, I was going to
that's
send that to John. Let
that's
me
his
see if I,
cousin Matt.
gosh dang it. I was going to see if I should have saved it. I thought I saved it and I was going to send it to him and say, hey, you quit being a bully down there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's his cousin Matt.
that's kind of funny, But let me see. Nope. Dang it. I thought I had it. That was kind of funny. I thought I screenshotted it. Guess not. But anyways, and then you listen to that Ollie Barney and all them guys, and it's just it's a romantic idea, but I don't think 90% of the people these days, even some of these guys that have mules, I know some people that have mules and they have these dogs that are bought dogs, and I don't think they can ride like they say they're riding 5 miles or 8 miles
5.
or
What the
well,
hell?
but they're not. They're riding a few miles. Probably my shortest down in here in Maricopa, my shortest circle is probably 8 miles. And that's like a afternoon. I'm gonna go run it real quick, and then when I go out there in the afternoon, I almost hope I don't get something because I know once I do, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be out there for a while. But you didn't have nobody to call, right? You didn't have cell phones. You stayed out there. Who is it? Ed. What is it? Trained by a Hound. Ed. What's his
Advance.
Vance. Um,
Vance.
I think he talked about walking out there 9 miles, and then in the desert, it might be 80 degrees in a day, and that it might only be 50 degrees at night, but that desert 50 degrees is way different than other 50 degrees. I mean, it's cold. But I think he got snowed on, and he talks about, uh, going out and staying the night. A lot of times, just like that uh, Dale Lee I just put out, the Bengal Tiger one. He's talking about how he had an old man with him, and he told that old guy to go over there, and that guy said, I ain't going out there in the dark. So he gave him the flashlight and took the pistol, and Dale Lee went out in the dark and called that. That's when he's talking about that Jaguar. I think it's Jaguar.
Jaguar.
That stared him down. And he's like, I got 6 shots or 5 shots in this pistol, and I'll use every one. And then I'll take a blanket and throw him over him. And maybe that will keep him occupied enough, But these kids these days, they got cell phones, they got LED lights, I don't think I could even. I'm not even that tough,
Well,
So
look at last year at the rendezvous when Joe was telling the story about that one of the Lee brothers that got killed over there, and he was a little kid, and he just went home, you know?
yeah,
And
yep,
it's just now you gotta have the helicopters come. Back then, well, even that buddy of mine over there, Justin Marks, Casey knows Justin. When Justin's father-in-law died, he was down by the Sheep Ridge on the Verde River over, you know, off way east of the Bloody Basin country. And there was no way to get anybody there. They put him in the back of the pickup, you know. They fished him out of the river and they put him in the pickup.
yeah.
That's just what, and now nobody, oh hell, what do you mean? What'd you do that for? You know, he was dead. Well, because that's what we had to do, you
Well,
know.
look at Kelly Glenn, right? Even she had the technology of a radio to get a helicopter. I think he had to ride back, right? Someone rode back to call the helicopter in to come get her.
I
Wasn't
don't
that back in
remember.
the 80s or 90s?
Kelly, well, Kelly's had 2 of those helicopter rides from
Well,
a
the one
mule
where
wreck.
it drug her, that mule drug her, it was snowy, and that mule drug her
And
across them boulders, crushed her leg up. I mean, that's a woman. And I tell you, I'd probably cry like a little girl
Yeah,
if it
but
happened to me.
you've met that woman, Chris. She's
Oh
not your
yeah,
city slicker, regular apartment
no,
dwelling woman.
that's what I'm saying. She's tougher than almost every man born after the year 1990. 2000 at
Yeah,
least.
she's
So I mean,
she's
you're
she's
talking about a
going every morning.
generation. You're talking about a generation that can't even drive a 5 speed. So
It's bad.
Yeah, we're making softer people, and I think some of it is you never had to get tough, so that you didn't. But then there's something going on with the breeding. These kids just coming out soft as baby shit in the summertime, you know.
yeah,
Because nobody kicks their ass, and when they get hurt and they go to screaming about it, nobody slaps them upside the head and tells them to shut up and go back to playing.
Yeah,
None of that.
I mean, even something in the food or the breeding or something, because they're just built different, like physically frail. You
right
know,
there. That's what it is, right there.
they just don't like they don't make hardly very many tough kids anymore. They're all built just pudgy and soft. Even the sporty ones are the ones that grow up hunting like that. You
Oh,
know, like we didn't look like that when we were 5 or 6. You know.
I got to tell you this story. I was on a trip with a bunch of youth from church, and there's a kid that's bigger than all the other kids and picking on everybody, and he was picking on the girl. So my youngest son Joshua, he's a little bitty squirt. I said, Anthony, leave those girls alone. If you want to pick on somebody, pick on Joshua. Well, Joshua's a half of my size. I said, I don't care. Pick on Joshua. I said, Joshua, Anthony's going to pick on you. And Anthony says, you sure you won't get mad, Benny? He's a lot smaller. I said, no, I won't get mad. And before Anthony could spin around, Joshua had him down on the ground and in a cradle and was rubbing his face. He had him backwards cradle, rubbing his face in the dirt. And Anthony was yelling, hey, hey, hey. And I said, I think you should have a second try. That was a fluke. And then boom, he's back in the dirt. And I said, now, Anthony, I know that Joshua's tougher than a lot of kids his size, but if you want to pick on a girl, you should pick on Joshua's sister. And he said, no, I can tell how you train your kids. And that's the difference. My kids were
Yeah.
raised rough and tumble and outside, like Chris's kids. And if you want your kids to be tough, now, Derek, if you ever have any kids and you want them to be tough, just name them Clump.
That's a fact. I see Sam and all them clumps post stuff. They just sent a post and their two daughters are standing on a horse. One
Oh,
standing on the horse.
That was Caitlin's kid. So the
Caitlin's
older
kid.
one that was standing on that horse, the oldest one, that's the one that got sent out a year and a half ago
Yeah,
to go
Livia.
Olivia to go get the goat kid in the dark.
It's all fun and games till they become teenagers. But
You're right. That's John
I
Clump's grandkids.
I think also what kind of leads up to these kids not. I talk to a lot of 30, 40, 50-year old and ask if they hunt. And they say, well, I used to. They just grew up and started working. And maybe my priorities are wrong, but I don't know, man. I've lost some jobs hunting. So
I think
it's
people
more,
try to do too much. Like if you're going to work a full time job and you're going to hunt dogs, that is what you do. That's it. Your every decision is around them dogs. Every Saturday from freaking August to May, that is your whole life. You're gonna miss birthday parties. You're gonna miss weddings. You're gonna miss
oh,
all that.
I miss. I have a lot of family members that don't like me because I miss their weddings. I'm like, why would
You
you get
can't,
married in August or July or November? You
you
know,
can't go see the movie that came out or go dinner, date night on a Saturday, take the wife dancing, all that shit. You can't do any of that. You got
and
you got to get them dogs in the woods, and you can't. And like I said earlier, a guy that's working, you'll need 12, 15 dogs. More dogs won't catch you more game. You put more time in the dogs you got. That's what I reckon.
I don't know. Sometimes I've needed 15 dogs to catch a bear.
If I need 15 dogs to catch a bear, and that happens more than like occasional weird situations, I just get a couple, 4 or 5 new ones because these ones ain't gonna do it. Obviously.
You ever ran a bear 12 miles with a dog? You need team 2.
Well,
You got to
need,
cut a road and you got to drop the next 6.
and what about, have you ever walked a bear for 5 miles with Packer?
Oh, I've walked a bear 9 miles and had Cody Lynn pick me up on the other side of the world.
No, but
And
I mean the bear's just walking.
Oh,
You
yeah, a
they-
big
they-
mean bear won't tree.
They
I
No,
have
don't.
you
video
better
of
have
one.
more than those 3 or 4 dogs.
Yeah.
You better have different dogs because you will never find a Leica guy that walks a bear no place.
I guarantee you there's some bears that I have walked that your Lycas would not have put up.
I doubt it. Maybe
I
mine
guarantee
is
it.
babies, but I bet Alex's will.
I guarantee it.
Because the difference
There's
is
some
hounds,
mean bears.
when everybody says, "Oh, my hound spotted on the ground," no, they didn't. They barked at it from 10 feet away. One guy that got swatted. They're not fighting it. Not how they should. Because hounds jump backwards. That's the biggest trick. A hound has to turn around to get away. That's why they get got when they try to go bite. That's why they don't bite a lot. But so spits can jump forwards and they can jump backwards. That's how come they don't get hit.
I got video to prove that one wrong.
It's a sign. They can't jump backwards the same distance they can jump forwards at the same speed. It's
Why
just
would they jump backwards if they're supposed to be fighting it?
they're not supposed to hang on to it. That's it. They can't beat the bear in a fist fight. All they do is he gets bit.
Oh hell, you need more dogs.
No, you don't need more dogs. You need better
You're
dogs.
telling me 3 or 4 Lycas will do more damage than 10 hounds?
As I will tell you that 3 Lycas will tree bears faster than 40 hounds. 100%. I've seen
well,
20,
then-
30 hounds run a bear for miles and miles and miles, and I've never even heard of stitches take a bear more than 600-800 yards. Like that's a long run. My pups ain't never run one farther than that.
Well, then you should
I've been
have
on-
hunters lined up.
I've been on some mean bears that didn't give a shit what was around them.
Yeah.
That's the trick. That's the trick of the spitz dog, though. The bear gets bit in the ass. He turns around and gets bit in the ass.
If that was the case, everybody'd be running like us.
Everybody who knows about them does. Everybody who's
Not
ever
Arizona.
nobody out here has ever seen them work except me. And people in the Southwest are stuck in the old way. They had it figured out 100 years ago. That's what we need to keep doing. And you like to trail stuff. I don't like trail stuff. I like catch stuff. I would not want to go back and hunt the old way and trail for 3 days. No, that's not for me.
You've got no patience for the sport.
For the old school way of doing it. But none of
No,
you guys
for the
have patience
sport. Period. For the sport.
No,
You
that's
want
like
to catch. You want
that's
to
like
catch
saying
fur.
if you
You
drive
don't
a
want to
truck
watch
to work,
dogs.
you got no patience for traveling because you don't walk. Like it's
You
just
don't. Oh, see, you don't want to
same
watch
thing.
the dogs work. You do it for catching hare. Well, then you should go hunt with Mike Bincey because he catches hare and he doesn't give a shit about the dogs working.
I like to see the dogs get work done. I don't like to see dogs smell and bark.
No, that's not what I said. Don't twist them around.
That's
Not
what you
get
do.
work done.
They're not working out a
Watch
4 day
them work.
trail. They're
Oh
just
hell,
smelling and
see,
walking.
that's because you got those damn sled dogs. You get a real dog, and then you got one that can go out there and work an old track.
I don't do nothing for me. They're not like how many times I trailed for 6 miles and caught nothing. Well,
You're good. Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
I like to get it done and get it done fast.
There you go.
Bobcat.
No patience.
I mean, I can take any mean dog and go jump a bear, but you have to jump a bear. Just like Jeff or Alex said, he found out where the bears were and went and jumped bears.
Yeah.
You just walk to where they ought to be and get them.
Or where they ought to be. I don't need to go there where I ought to be. I either drive around and rig them and find them, or I walk in a canyon and find them.
A lot of
treat a
guys
lot of.
driving a lot of circles, and
How many
we
bear
went
you catch this year?
this year 4.
With your 3 dogs or someone else?
Not one with 3 dogs. I hunt 5.
So you treat 4 bears by yourself with 5 dogs?
No, I treed
Yeah,
2.
Jeremiah with you.
Yeah, on 2 of those.
I don't have nobody with me.
But you got more dogs than we got together.
Yeah, but I only take, I don't know, 5, maybe 8 when I go.
That's all we had out was 8. I had
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 out. 1 was for his very first time, and Jeremiah had 2,
Mhm.
3, 4.
That's too many dogs. You got to give
What
the bear a sporting chance. Out of your own mouth, that's too many dogs.
I said, yeah, that's too many trained
And there was
lions.
a bunch of hounds in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of hounds in there because you know, but all my dogs together, you got a dog older than all mine together if you add them up. You
And I've
know,
caught with him, with my 11-year-old and my 9, 10-year-old, they've caught bears by themselves.
uh, I ain't got a bear by myself. Caught a lion by myself with 1 dog.
Oh, they caught bears, just them 2.
Well, just my gray dog caught that Tom last year by himself.
Yeah, that's a
I
lion.
caught a bear. I treat a bear by myself with no
Hey,
dogs.
me and Cody
So
Lynn
that
treat a bear.
shows. And when he was hanging on the side of the tree, oh, his butt was 4 feet, 5 feet off the ground, and he was woofing and popping his teeth and wouldn't go up the tree. I socked him right in the tailpipe with this, and he
I did.
went on up. So
I,
the hell with all those dogs. Just run them down yourself.
me and Cody Lynn ran a bear. It ran across the road. We jumped out and barked at it. And then it went up a tree, and then it tried to come down. Same thing. I ran up, punched it in the butt, and it went back up the tree. That's how I train my puppies.
One
When
thing
That's it.
let me see.
Right there.
everything gets better. You know, everything gets improves, and if we don't want to improve it, then what we can we say we like it if we don't want to make it better? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense then. You know,
Are
like,
Lycas silent mouth? They don't bark on the trail till hot, right?
yeah. Yeah, if my Spitz dogs are barking, they're looking at it. But once in a great while, if one of them,
Jeremy said his dogs bark a lot.
that
He
was
blamed that dog on Jeremiah.
Jeremiah's pup doing all that barking.
Mm-hmm. It's probably because it was with all them sled dogs. And it's like, please help me. I want to catch something.
Man, I like
Listen, everybody hunts different.
yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I
That's
personally don't
that's the guy right there with Bone Pile. Zach Ahart, that dude is the real deal.
there's a lot of real deals out there.
You find me somebody that can prove they catch as many as he does. That dude is something.
Okay, where does Zach Ahart hunt? Arizona?
No, West
New
Virginia.
Mexico? No, he hunts where?
West Virginia.
Yeah. There's way more bears in West Virginia and easier to catch than here.
It ain't. It's easier to walk here. Yeah. Greens Peak has got plenty. There's plenty of bears up there. You know, there's bear.
In Greens Peak?
Yeah.
There's not bear everywhere. I've been everywhere. It depends on the food plot, the water. They're scattered now because all the water.
True. That's true for every place, though. You know, it's and no bears. Them. I don't know. We ain't got like. I've never seen like a big mean bear. Like these bears are whatever.
I've been on some mean bears that don't. It looks like you could have 20 hounds on those bears, and it looks like flies around it. It just walks. It don't care if it's getting bit. If it wants to turn around and grab a dog, it'll turn around and grab a dog. and my dogs definitely aren't 10 feet from it. You know, my dogs aren't aggressive, but they don't necessarily stay back as far as I would like them to stay back when they're just on the ground. But man, I've had some bears that will not absolutely tree. You
Yeah,
could put
that's why I like those Spitz dogs though, man, because they're pulling hair all the time, like all the time. It's in and out, grabbing ass, and it don't stop. It's just in them. It's just what they do.
there's 3 bears that I've chased that I would almost put money on that they would turn around and kill that dog.
There ain't a bear fast enough to do that regularly. Like you don't hear about it.
Regularly, but I've seen 3 bad bears.
But what? How are they faster than other bears? You know,
They're
they have
just
to
bad
be.
bears. They don't give a shit. Most bears try to get away.
No, I mean, but fighting bears, like brown bears, fight always, and they get caught. They get sick of spinning in circles, and they stay in their bait. They don't hunt brown bears with hounds. And when they used to, all you heard about was hounds getting slaughtered. You know, nobody had old hounds hunting brown bears without other dogs. And then, but you look where they still do it, and the dogs they use, it's the same stuff.
Hey, Jeremy has it all figured out. I can put game in every tree by just using my editing software. There you go. I seen Calvin starting to post again. Where the hell has Calvin been? He's some good stories. I seen him on Instagram or
He's
somewhere.
back to hunting. He's back to hunting right now.
You know, and I don't know. You got Zach and Kirk Price, and I've never hunted with them. Like Jeremy said, you can put anything in the tree. You know how many bears did they chase for that one got in the tree? You can make anything look good on editing. You know, if I went and hunted with them and said, "God damn, you're catching a lot of shit," or "Your dogs are good," but I mean, Jeremy's kind of got a point
the
there.
same thing. I mean, I can catch every line in the world on a piece of paper 30 years after the time. You know, you could say that about everybody. You could say that
Not
about.
me. I didn't catch. I've caught 3 lions in my whole life. That's all that the game department knows.
And none of it's edited.
But you
It's
could.
it's just on the Game and Fish
But you
back
could
files.
say that about everybody that we talk about. I mean, there ain't a man alive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How can you idolize somebody unless you went and hunted with them and seen it's for real?
Well, by that neck, but there ain't a man alive that saw. To my understanding, there might be a man alive that saw it, but to my understanding, there ain't a man alive that saw Dale Lee catch a jaguar, you know, or anything. So we could
pictures.
play that. What I mean, there are pictures, videos, but you could shoot one out of a cage and hold up with your dog. You know what I mean? You could play that devil's
No,
advocate with
there's
everybody.
still some guys. No, there's still some guys alive. That Tony down there at Nairi, he hunted with Dale Lee. He hunted with Richard Holcomb. He talked to Clell. Clell's the one that said you need to go with Dale. Um, Tony Rivera. In fact, have you talked to him, Chris? Have you gotten in
Not
touch
Tony
with him?
Rivera. I haven't talked to Tony Rivera yet.
Okay. But there are still people around. Richard Holcomb's still alive. He hunted with those guys. Um,
But you see what I'm saying? Like nobody was there for every tree everybody made. Like we could
no,
all never caught anything, been lying the whole time. You know, we're just you know, videos and pictures is the best we got. You know.
Copy and paste Brett. It's called Patriot. Hey, I got permission to use all his interviews. And post the ones I got. You know what, Tim? He said almost everyone that posts videos show them in the tree. My highest video is the one where I didn't catch something, which is kind of weird. So it's not always, they say you have to have something in the tree, but I mean, my goal is to kind of show how hard it is. And I think that's the problem with the other side. We don't know how hard it is. And I think that's the problem with, I know some people that have just bought dogs and they go out and they're catching some stuff, and they like to post everything. I don't necessarily like to post anything, and I don't necessarily like telling anybody how many bears I've caught. If I'm with somebody, I'll post a video with the bear, but I don't.
Why is that? Just how come you don't want to say?
Let me tell you something about posting how great you are. And let's say I caught 23 bears this year or 30 bears. So all that does is open up for people to say he's baiting, he's cheating. I know people like that. I've gotten calls from people saying, you said I was baiting. No, people tell me you bait. Everybody thinks I'm undercover because I don't get caught doing stuff. Who says I'm doing stuff?
But that's what I mean. We're not doing anything, so who cares if people say we are?
Oh, even if I was, you don't know I am. But when you bring a lot of attention, and this is where we go. Who was that? Dean Ross or that pig guy?
But not like Dean Ross. But we're not doing things like he does. But if we're not controlling the narrative, they write it for us. Like if we're not showing, I think we need 20 guys that put out as much stuff as Kirk does. We need so much. We need to be so big that people didn't come from this are like, that's a really cool thing. That's
I don't idolize none of that stuff though. As far
it
as
don't matter. That ain't about idolizing. It's about putting forth the. It's like community outreach. If everybody can see it, more people. Let's just like that. It's only the bad stuff everybody gets to see.
Well, that's because people put dumb stuff on there. I just seen a video with 15 dogs on a bear in the river. And I'm like, why would you put that on there? Because it just gets. I just seen a video that was bad, and I know this guy got caught for it, and it's because some person wasn't even doing what they were doing and was sitting on a hill, seen them doing it and recorded it, and it got turned in, and the guy got busted. So I hope that video don't get out. I've seen the video, and it could be turned into something horrific, even though it's not Houndsman, but it is a bear, and it's a bad video.
That's what
I don't think we should. I think if you're going to post, you don't have to post. So the ones with my kids, I posted a gunshot, and I didn't post a dead picture. I just posted we got one, right? So it's all you hear is a gunshot, and that's it. We got a couple bear. I think that's good enough. I mean, I had 2 kids out.
But if we're not, my thing is if we're doing that, I don't want to tell everybody what I'm doing. That's what happened to Oregon. That's what happened to Washington. Sticking their heads in the sand, and they'll just take it away from us.
Politics happened there.
But that was because the old way of doing it was keep them close to the vest. Don't talk about what we do. Let's keep it quiet. And nobody shows up. No, it pops up on a thing, and
that's right there. What did you just say? Nobody showed up. Now I can be quiet about what I do in the hills.
But that showing up to Game and Fish, we're talking to people that know. We might convince a deer hunter
that we're showing up. How many bear did I kill this
not
year?
Enough.
Or how many bear did I tree this year?
That's not enough to pass the ballot, though. The ballot is for Joe and Cindy down the road. Don't know nothing. If they've never saw an entertaining, good video hunting with dogs, then they've never seen it. So all they see is these murderous bad guys are killing these baby bears, blah, blah, blah. That's all they see, so they believe it. They check mark yes on that ballot, and we lose it. That's how you lose stuff on a ballot initiative. That's when I talk about controlling the narrative, I'm talking about we got to get so big that people that are unrelated to the sport at all know about it and know about it in a good way. And we're not going to do that at Game and Fish. Like we did good work with that, but that's not going to help us if it goes to a ballot. We got to be, pop culture, show people that watch our stuff.
Videos ain't going to do that. Getting out to public outreach will do that. So
what do you call public outreach? We live in 2025. Videos are public outreach. There's no cable TV no more. Then nobody buys DVDs. That's what saved the deer
So
hunt.
what kind of videos should you post? Like post stuff like Kirk Price?
I think we need
They
20
could
guys.
tear those
Like
videos up
that.
too.
They can't tear them up with anything
He has
real,
8 guys in trucks. They have like 40 dogs.
and that's legal.
It don't
It's not
matter
about,
what legal is. Hunting bear is legal. Shooting a bear is legal. Skinning a bear, eating a bear is legal.
but
Lying, that's all
the
legal.
videos are entertaining and fun and engaging, and he gets a bazillion views, but not from bear hunters watching all those. You know what I mean? It's just it worked. Like it's putting a good foot forward, and you never see any like nasty Western stuff. They might have 20 guys out, but they're like just the last one he posted.
It's a
Bear got,
little Western sometimes. He shows kill shots.
well, yeah, but that's not like the bad stuff. Killing a bear, people need to see that. I get why he shows the kill shots because the bear is stone dead before it ever leaves the tree. It bounced, it's totally dead. I get why they like to
I
show that.
think
I'm on the
I,
fence on those, but like the whole point of it is they're doing so much big work for all of us. And like right now, we're just talking in an echo chamber. Everybody listening to this is already on our team. You know, we got to do something to get out there to those people that don't know.
you're telling me somebody who don't necessarily do hunting watches his videos and says that's okay?
Well, yeah, tens of thousands
How
of
many
people.
people say that's not okay when the bear bounces off the ground?
Well, that doesn't. The point is, he's got 380,000 subscribers, and there aren't that many dog hunters in the whole entire world. That's what I'm saying. You're like 500,000 or whatever subscribers, and there's like 20,000 dog hunters in the whole country. So
Yeah,
at least a portion of those.
I don't
Yeah,
think his videos would sway somebody to vote for bear hunting if
that's
they're not.
that's literally how it works, man. You know, nobody votes to end football because they like the football team. Like you could tear that shit apart if it wasn't so popular, or bare knuckle fighting or any of that stuff. You know, it's the popularity that saves it. Like the only reason people vote for the bunny huggers is because it's popular and they get cool points or whatever to be like, oh, that's they don't care about the bears. They've never even seen one, but they were convinced that they need to save them because they were convinced they're endangered. Like people think there's mountain lions are endangered because that's what they've been told, and they think that's a good thing I should do. But if you hit them from the cultural thing, the generational thing, how fun it is, like we gotta somehow break into the people that don't don't have an end, especially out here. It's so difficult. Like it, you know, if you got to be born into it or fight your way into this group around here. And it's so terrible. It's like so difficult to do that it's really off putting to the average person. You know, we got to find a way to become something in the minds of those people, something good. And we're not bringing anything to the communities, so we don't have that avenue. It's like I can't think of another way other than to be an entertaining, popular thing to see because you know, there's not enough ranchers to where we're doing good work for enough people to make those votes matter. And we're not bringing money in like they do back east, so that doesn't matter. We get, you know, if we're not giving entertainment and education, then what do we do?
Yeah. What do you think, Benny?
I'm curious, how many people your age do you know trying to do what you're trying to do, Derek?
Trying to do what, like be
Running dogs.
Running
running
dog.
dogs or like doing
I'm
it?
not talking about no, I'm not talking about the field trials. I'm talking about really hunting dogs. How many people your age?
Competition. So if they get paid to do it, it don't count. It's not really.
Now see, no, that's exactly right. I'm talking about hunting. I'm not talking about all that bullshit. I'm talking about hunting.
Benny, I don't think there's a guy in the Southwest that's got the sack to hunt as hard as some of those guys do. Because
So the answer is I'm not going to answer because I'll hurt your feelings because I don't believe that bunch of bullshit when you go and a dog is a race dog, that's not a hunting dog. I
no,
just
because
asked
it's
straight
faster
up.
than the 100 years old bred crap that we have out here. That makes no
So
sense.
zero. So zero. You're a
No, all
standalone
hundred
hunter.
thousands, Benny. You're catching game. You're just doing it faster than you guys have ever seen. So it must be bullshit.
But you're not. But you're not. You
Yes, we are.
personally are not.
I
You.
personally am. I catch things in shorter distances than anybody that I've heard from, than anybody that'll talk to me. And you ought to say, I get
I've caught lions in 200 yards after starting a track. I've caught bears within 80 yards of starting the track.
okay. So why y'all act like it's crazy when I say that that's what we should strive for?
Because that's not how we hunt.
Okay, well, that's not how I hunt. But that don't mean it's not hunting.
No, but you're kind of talking shit about the old crappy way. It's exactly what you just said. The old
Well, he
crappy.
just said that we're all pretend hunters, so I'm defending myself.
No, I didn't say you. I said there's a
You said
difference
me
between
personally are not catching game faster than anybody. Is what you just said. And you said that
okay,
catching raccoons and getting paid for it doesn't count as hunting,
it's
which
not
doesn't make.
hunting. At
How
a
is it not
field
hunting?
trial, is it a field trial or is it a night hunt?
It's a night hunt. They only do field trials for birds, and those are planted.
No, they don't. They do field trials every day for raccoons as well.
In what organization, Benny?
Oh my gosh, Derek. You stick your head in the sand and it's not going to change anything.
That's your game, Benny. Remember, keep your mouth shut, hide, don't tell nobody nothing. In the
I didn't
professional
say
kennel
hide.
club,
I don't hide. I just don't get out there and tell
in the
everybody I'm going to see
professional
how many
kennel club,
bears
there
I'm
are field trials. It is a night hunt or a bench show. That's it.
We don't really
So
have those in Arizona.
there's no water races.
Not in the PKC, no. Not in the professional kennel club. There are no water races. AKC,
So
I think, does water races.
do you
UKC
think
used to.
those dogs?
And
I
those
think
are
you
not the
said this.
dogs that I'm talking about. Those are not the kind of dogs like Jeremy has bred out of. Those are not water race dogs. That's not a hunt. That is what you do with your puppies for fun. But a night hunt,
I
you're
can
catching.
assure you, that you can be mad and you can gripe that it's hard to get into the deal. You have to fight your way in or be born in. I didn't do either, and I was accepted, but I didn't ran down everybody's throat that they were a bunch of dumbasses and refused to learn.
I don't have to hunt the same way that they did 100 years ago. Like
But
that
to
doesn't.
tell everybody that they don't know what the hell they're doing because they're stuck in the past and then you want to be a part of it, well, good luck.
I didn't say that, Benny. You said that,
You
not me.
did say that.
I did. Who did it? When did I say nobody don't know what they're doing? I said
You
I
said they're all
suggested.
stuck in the past and they don't want to move forward and learn how to do something other than what they've done.
That's a fact. You told me that.
Oh, I
You
did.
you all
Well,
told me.
okay.
Like
But
you said,
then
we
you
need.
get on here and you complain that you can't get into the group because you got to be born in, which isn't accurate. Or Casey wasn't born in. I wasn't born in. I didn't have a fist fight to get
I'm
in.
first
I didn't.
generation. Nobody in my family had hounds.
But you on the flip side of that, you not talking out of both sides of it now, because you said you got to pay your dues and get people to vouch for you and all that. Well, that's
I did.
why that's why before
I
tonight.
never said that. I
Yes, you did.
absolutely never said that.
Yes, you
You
did.
can interpret whatever you want, but you're
Those
not
are
a
the words
lawyer.
you
You're
said,
full of
Ben.
crap. You're full of
Okay.
crap. You find it
What?
and you play it back to me. Send it back to me.
Jesus, it don't make any sense, guys. I suggest that we try to allow people to get into it, and y'all take it like a personal freaking insult and then hack on a guy. Guy
I
makes
don't
a
think
living
I'm
doing
not hacking
something.
on you. I'm saying is you think that we should run them faster, that you can just run them faster. You're saying you can catch a lion faster than people because of the dogs you got, correct?
Yeah, my dogs move a track faster than what is
Hot
popular.
track.
Yeah. Yesterday's track, I got the only apples to apples example I have is one day me and Jared had yesterday's sighted lion the next morning in different places. We trailed it the almost the exact same amount of miles, and I did it a lot faster. My dogs move quicker. I like a faster dog. That's all I said. I said as long as a dog.
I
I
think
said
that's the only difference here is you like to run and we like to
on this
walk.
show, I even said as long as the guy's dog suits him, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That should be that's accurate.
That's what I said like 20 minutes ago. Like, but everybody wants to. If it's not the way that we did it forever, y'all want to like act like it's the wrong way. Like, who cares? Like, y'all ain't got to feed the dang things. I do.
We got we got some riled up guests tonight. Back dog is making a lot of money. Derek, you know that every time you bring this up, you get hammered on from all these old school dry ground guys. But I personally, this is my opinion. I don't think your dogs can go as long as these hounds can go.
Oh no, they can't. They cannot.
So
That's 100%.
What I'm thinking is you want to get out, find a hot track, go catch it. But we don't. I mean, we can agree on this. You're not going to trail a 3-day-old because you don't want to trail 3-day-old. You don't even want to trail a 1-day-old. But I don't think anybody wants to trail a 1-day-old as far as just catching and getting your dogs on game. But I mean, there's times that, people been out 10 days trailing the same lion. But that's just because they like to wear cowboy boots and not Nikes. Correct? I think what people take Derek as is Derek says, my dogs can do what your dogs can do. I think that's what people's interpreting from Derek right now is my dog can catch as many lines as your dog. But I think,
and I've said that before, I either want to catch it or not catch it. Now, I don't want to trail it for a week and not catch it. That's not what I want to do. And I've said that before. My dogs can't run a bear for 10 miles. They won't do it. They just won't do it. Like these Spitz dogs won't. My hounds will, but these Spitz dogs, they won't even go that far. They'll quit.
Is it because the way we hunt is just as crazy as the way you think we hunt? You know what I mean? Like, you have an idea in your head, and I understand that and what you want to do. I think by when you say we're stuck in our ways, it's because what we do is work. Like it works for us, and you don't want to take that time like we do because obviously you hunt different. You have different ideas.
I just don't.
Funny, and we can agree you got funny looking dogs. I mean that's we can all agree on that.
But the thing
they're different than his dogs are different than we've ever been exposed to in the West.
I would never personally use a Leica. I just wouldn't. But I don't use plots either. But I'm not just a bear guy, and I think plots are kind of bred for brushier, more wet conditions, moist conditions, than they are for. And I've heard there's guys that had their best line dog was a plot, but of course there's walkers, there's blue ticks. You hear Warner Glenn talk about blue ticks, how slow they were. That's why he went to the walker.
Mm-hmm.
He brought crap from back east for the walker.
Yeah,
but
it's all like I say, it's all about what suits a fella. But the idea that you can't do it unless you do it the same way we've been doing it forever and ever and ever, that just don't make any sense to me. Like, guy can do it.
You can do it. You could go to the pound and pick up dogs. I think Ben Lilly went to the pound and picked up dogs and turned them into dogs. And that was, he used whatever he could. and I use the line I have because I've had it since 2005. This specific line, you know, and this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get this comment right here. I've already seen it.
Come show what?
Hang on, my mic keeps shutting off. Come show them how your dogs can do it.
Come show me how yours can do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm up here hunting all the time.
no, not you. I'm not. I
Oh.
know you. I like you. You. Oh, I never say nothing bad about your dog except for your one. You big
I say
giant
shit
monster.
bad about my dogs. I got, you know, I know there's better dogs are, and you hunt different dogs.
Yeah,
But
and
in order for you to be, like you said, accepted, is you have to kind of say here, and like Alex, Alex came and hunted, and I mean he did it in an intelligent way, a very strategic way, and
yeah,
he taught a lot of people on here that you could use technology, like you said, it's a new day and age. He got on the hiking pages and said, "I seen the bear here. I seen the bear here," and he triangulated where everybody was at, and you went into that area. But what I'm saying is, I think I could take any of my dogs, whether they're hounds or my Labradors or anything, and go into that same area and jump a bear, because a dog will chase anything jump.
yeah, yeah. You can jump a bear with a cow dog. I've done it 100 times with a mountain.
There's a guy just posted a video that his healer treated a bear in his backyard.
But he didn't tree 60 in a year and never run one over 700 yards the whole time. You know, that's the difference. That's what Alex did last year. 59.
I think what I don't agree with you is you think it's hard to get in here, but I think you put that in your own head, because I think you can get into any of these guys. I mean, you could have grabbed a puppy from one of Casey's pups, easy enough.
But now that dog wouldn't suit me. Not that there's anything wrong with Casey's dogs, but they wouldn't suit the way
So
I
you
look
can't.
at hunting.
So you can't want to be accepted in something you don't want to be part of.
No, what I've said was, I never said, "Oh, please accept me." I said when I came here, I spent the first year I was here trying to get in and talk to people and figure out what dogs were whose and who to buy from, and nobody would talk to me. You know, that was what I'm saying. When you brand new guy, and nobody would give me the time of day, so I just imported dogs where I knew where to get them from.
That's why I got the watch. Now I can give you the time of day, Derek.
I'm just talking.
I mean, we could go round and round about this all night long, because you just, you know, like there's a guy that their best dog was a poodle. I've seen. Listen, I know a lady who has a poodle. I don't want to pay $1,800 for this poodle, and I don't think they're going to accept me if I went to these people raising these poodles, right? These standard poodles that are hunting dogs. Every dog's a hunting dog, right? A dachshund, hunting dog. What they use them for? Badgers and those
A lot of
little
Falcons
tiny
use them things to great success.
terriers. They use for rats. I mean, everything's a hunting dog.
But it's about what it's about what suits you, the way you want, what you want to catch, or the way you want to hunt it. And there's just more than one way to skin a cat. Like, you know, to say that you can only do it with the dogs that the same kind of, you got to have the Terrell Shelley dogs, or the Brett Vaughn dogs, or the Chris Watson dogs, like whatever. Yeah, but we know that's not true. I mean, you can do it with whatever kind of dogs you want, but to discount a whole week because it looks different don't make any sense.
I get what you're saying, because when I get a dog, even those two puppies I got out of the good lines, like you said, Terrell Shelley, it's not my line, and I'm real weird about. Even my dad has my line, and when he has puppies, it's literally hard for me to take those puppies, even though they're my line, and work with them. And the only kind of reason I got someone else's line is because I kind of got stuck in the breeding. So all of my dogs are Dirty's kids. I can't breed him to nobody except for
Yeah.
my Catahoula's. And when I breed my Catahoula to like Dirty or Ben or Halado, that's a big risk I'm taking. Like I don't sell my dogs because I have low self-esteem of my dogs. What my dogs do for me, I've sold dogs to people and they've said, I literally sold a dog to a guy and said, this dog runs bears, a puppy. I sold a puppy. It's like 3-4 months old. He literally seen that puppy go after cats. That's all I had this puppy on was cats around my yard. He was there at my yard. He seen that dog take off, trail that cat to the boat and tree this. This is 3-month-old pup, maybe 4. Tree this cat on my boat. And he wanted that. And then he got out there and said, it won't do nothing on bear. And I said, literally, did you see it tree a bear? So, but I'm not nobody important. I know how many bears I've caught with my dogs. And when I say I don't like telling nobody, it's just I don't like people knowing my business anyways. I don't like causing that. Now, I talk to people. I've given out my card, my guiding hunting card to people, and I hardly charge for hunts. I donate more hunts. I'm taking a veteran hunter Friday. I gave my card to more Border Patrol agents in the last 3 days because they're like, oh, you run dogs. I've took more people. I've run into archery deer hunters out there that said that, how archery deer hunters don't like hound guys. And I took this guy into a tree. I said, hey, I think I got a dog treed right where he was hunting. And he walked in and got to see that tree. So I don't think videos, and I can't take 150,000 voters that are going to vote against it to a tree. If I could take them to a tree, if I could find a way that I could take every person that voted to a tree, it's way different than a video. We know that,
Yeah,
right?
but-
You can
yeah,
watch videos all day long until
But
you
we can't take them to the tree. That's what makes the video so important because that's as close as they're ever going to get.
but they have to be a strategic video to capture what we need. And I don't think there's a lot of people that can actually do that because we're so wound up in the moment, right? We like to see a bear come out of a tree. We like to see, like, if I could send half of my videos to people, and this is where I tell you I'm private, if I could send to a houndsman and then know that he won't maybe send it to somebody or a cousin, or this video that I was telling you about was bad, ended up, I don't know how, ended up in Game and Fish's hands. I had it first, and it ended up in top tier Game and Fish hands and was called about it. So those videos that I would love to show people, God, I wish I could show 100 people 100 of my videos that that just won't use. It's easier to make a non-hunter an anti-hunter than it is to make a non-hunter a hunter.
That I know,
And
but
some of those videos, even that Kirk Price has put out, that I've even George Lampert, just a lot of even a coon video.
George
like,
is a good one.
He's a really good one. But even some of his videos, I'm like, you should probably have trimmed that part out.
I get that for sure. Like, well, I've yelled the loudest about head shooting bears on video. I don't like those. I think that I like to see that stuff, but I don't think that's what Cindy up the street folding her laundry needs to watch when her kid runs in and goes, "Look,
Yeah.
a bear hunt." I don't
I
think
think
rolling one out with a headshot's what people need to be looking at.
if Kirk Price took and idolized his dogs and glorified his dogs, I'm talking you had 80% of dogs from clean kennels, right? Feeding them, loading them in the truck. I mean, shit, man. I've done shit to my kids I don't want no one to know about. You know what I mean? You can't even spank your kid in the grocery store for screaming like a idiot
I'll
anymore.
give him that. Though. I think he does highlight his dogs quite a bit. I mean, they're stars of his shows. Like his fans know all these dogs' names and all that. You
Yeah.
know. Oh, like I
Oh,
think.
look at Brett, Fat Lori.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Brett's videos
Brett's are really good at
are
especially
really
original.
good
Yeah,
for that purpose.
for sure.
And I get Kirk Price
Yeah. They're
because
hitting different
he's
audiences.
high energy to the
Yeah.
younger crowd.
That's
I
what
just
I was gonna
think
say. He's hitting those ears, you know.
there's probably 20 or 30% of his video, pieces of his video and his whole collection that he could have trimmed out and made it a little better.
That's probably fair. I don't know. I ain't no video editor. That's why I don't have anything out. I'm bad about taking it and don't know how to put it together. And you know, but
And
I
so you
think
should know by now, you will never escape the turmoil of our making fun of you for having sled dogs.
Well, I
As
know
long as
that.
we get that.
But if I was worried about that, I'd just, I'd have a couple
You
of,
wouldn't be on here and you wouldn't be
Latin
posting pictures. Yeah.
yeah, like I like the breed. I like the way they hunt, so that's my deal, What they
And
call them?
yes, Jeremy, I want a tree poo to see if it works. I'm not saying I wouldn't try a dog, but just like a guy I was raised with Dodges. My first truck was a 71 Dodge, right? My first dogs were hounds. I'm a Dodge guy. If my dad was a Ford guy, I'd probably be a Ford guy. If my dad was a Chevy guy, I'd be a Chevy guy. I think all of anybody Benny hunted with, there was no Lycas, there was no tree poos, there was nothing but a good hound.
I guess that's probably it just doesn't, because like where I come from, there's a lot of you get the best tool for the job you want to do. And like I grew up in a blue tick kennel. Everything we had looked like Robert Chase's stuff, and I would roll over dead if I had to hunt with some of the stuff I grew up with. And that's just don't suit me. And
Yeah.
I think that has this.
And honestly,
and the dogs we had when I was a kid, nobody has those kind of dogs in that same country now. Even the blue ones don't. They're not like the blue ones, like what Robert's got, or like what we had. Big, like. And I don't know, but his dogs aren't fast. There's no way, And like those kind of dogs just don't hardly exist anymore back in that country, because they just weren't doing the job in any way to be competitive with what else was out there. And I think that that competitive drive really caused the adaptation to the breed, and there's some bad in there over the years too, for sure. They got some big running slick tree pieces of crap there for a while, about 15 years ago. But but out here it seems like there's no adaptation, and that doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess if everybody's happy with how it's performing, it doesn't make any difference. No sense to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal. I get it. But
I mean, that'd be like us going back east and trying to tell them the way they're doing it. They need to do it how we do it. They would get mad. Well, look at just your hound guys. Look at the difference between a walker and a blue tick guy, right? A walker guy, I mean, we can agree that Jared is just kind of as weird as you using the black and tans.
But the difference with that though, like, cause you got your blue tick fanciers and stuff, and it's not a very long conversation. They're like, "Oh, blue ticks are better." Well, how come you never beat me? You know what I mean? How come they don't win? And
Here's a good example.
Clean measuring stick.
She runs beagles, and everybody was like, "Ha, you got a beagle." That's just a short leg wannabe hound. But now, what's everybody doing?
Yeah,
they're crossing those beagles.
Probably
so I think you could talk as much shit as you want about your dogs, as long as you go out and prove it. Constantly prove it.
I mean, it's the thing that gets aggravating, and I get aggravated sometimes, obviously, and I'm sorry for that, guys. But what gets aggravating is I ain't got nothing over 2 years old, and we're catching stuff. We're doing all
Mhm.
right. And I'm pretty happy with them. And then everybody's like, well, like you didn't catch 11 lions this month. Well, son of a bitch, neither did anybody else that I heard about. And then it's always, well, such and such did. Well, they didn't prove it any more than I did. So how come nobody's calling their bullshit? You know what I mean? Like
I
that's kind
think,
of aggravating.
and we're just a quiet. Do you agree, Benny? Like dry ground guys are very loner people.
Yeah.
The only time I
Yeah.
have seen those 11 lions is when I'm in the dude's house and he has. There was a guy in Payson stopped by to say hello and say, "Hey, I know you. He like, what's up?" And he took me in his house and he plugged in a CD. This is how long ago it was. He plugged in a CD he made, and it showed a bunch of his lions. And I think, and I get what you're saying is we do need to get it out more, but it has to be like Lionheart. It has to be that style of
That's
cinema. It
that's
has
a
to be
good
very
deal.
cinematic,
That's a good
you
deal.
know.
But that's
And right
expensive.
now,
We can't afford that.
and
Mhm.
I think if there was a Lionheart 2 that showed the dogs, not necessarily the lions, the trailing, I think it's kind of like you have to kind of bring them in on the dogs. You got to get them to love the dogs and what you're doing with the dogs before you say, this
My
is what we do with
my
the dog.
my worry with that though is if we don't show what we're doing, then they're like, oh well, those guys with the dogs you like are so cute. They're murdering lions, and then
Mm-hmm.
people because they didn't,
But
they
showing
didn't.
them, showing them taking to a lion tree in 10 minutes on a video and killing that lion or bear, that makes it look easy, right? Just like Louisiana Hunting said it right, edited. It was. It was all his lions. Now, is that the 11 lions he killed this year, this month, the last 10 years? And he's right. It is edited. And so when you take a video, this is why people get into the hounds. Tell me if I'm wrong. I did it. I watched Delgado. I watched all these lion hunts where you're not going to put on a 10-day video. You're going to put on a 20-minute video of letting the dogs go. I had a video made of me when I took a cancer kid on a hunt. And it was 3, 4, 5 days. It was a 30-minute video, and we caught him a lion. But it made it look like, oh, look at us. We dropped the tailgate. And this is what I'm talking about in the videos, is when you got a 15 to 30-minute video, it makes it look like lion hunting or bear hunting with dogs is easy. That's why all these people, the main comment from a hound hunter is this, come with me, right?
Yep.
Come with me.
Boots on.
Put your boots on, and let's take a bow hunter, right? I heard it was Chris Powell and Van Johnson talking about if you could only use a longbow, how many people would drop out of the hunting scene? Because
Yep.
how easy is a bow that shoots 300, 400 feet a second now, right? That seems easy. You could shoot
Everybody
100 yards. I remember I had
got
a
an 8-yard
PSC
gun.
that 40 yards, I was aiming a foot high. I
Yep.
had a rainbow on it. Now, my 1 and 30 pin are the same on my Matthews. Like it's
Yep.
right there. So to me, you
well,
got
it's
a
just like
rangefinder now. You got
Yeah.
a bow that shoots 400 feet. How easy is that? That's easy. But did
You
they
got
show the stalking in, the 8 hours it took to get to that deer?
yeah.
So when you watch those videos, that it takes 15 minutes and you got you this big 200 class muley or
But
140-inch
but
coos deer.
but those videos and those DVDs and the Michael Waddells and the Spook Spans and all those guys, that's why deer hunting is so safe, because they made it a billion-dollar business, because they got big and they got in the households and everybody knows a deer hunter, and everybody, got to buy this and buy that, and they made this huge industry of it, and that's why they're safe. That's why nobody's, oh my God, they're trying to take away deer hunting with bows and arrows. We better get up to the game and fish. They don't have to worry about it because they've made themselves so big, and that's why nobody's back east talking about we're going to take away the raccoon hunting, because it's a multi-million-dollar industry. If we make ourselves big and make ourselves in everybody's house, then we're safer that way. If we're an obscure thing nobody's ever seen, we're not.
So here's Tim. I would love to see those numbers. He said how many people hung up muzzleloaders after they took the scope away. I would love to see if there was a decline in muzzleloader permits or hunters in New Mexico when they did take the scope away. Now, Jeremiah said deer and elk see the arrow in flight of the fastest bow, still not easy. Bear and lion can hear the dogs coming. If those bear and lion want to, they can be gone.
And
bear.
I killed a lot of deer, and whitetail deer ain't hard to kill. Like it ain't hard.
Where at?
Whitetail deer, anywhere they live. Anywhere they live.
Virginia?
Anywhere they live.
Yeah, but what's the population of those deer compared to our deer? We don't have.
I would say 35 has more deer per square foot than Kentucky for sure.
I don't think that.
Well, I've hunted both places. I've seen
way
wide
more
deer in the
You're
35,
wide open, right?
Huh?
35, 36s. That's pretty wide open country.
Well, every time you go into those creek bottoms, they just boogie. You know, you go into like central Indiana or Ohio, right? A lot of deer, but you go into, and it's similar. It's, ag fields and rushy bottoms like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into those bottoms, you might bust out 4 or 5 deer, not 30. You know what I mean? And that's because, there's bigger deer there, more bucks, but they kill does. We don't kill does here. I don't think that's a good idea, but I don't think there is any shortage of deer. Now, stalking a mule deer or something, or stalking a deer, I don't know. That seems like really hard. I never tried it. That looks hard. But
I've hunted all the 36s, and
but now 36 is a different deal. Because if I was going to go kill a coos deer, I'd kill it the same way I kill an eastern whitetail. I'd go kill that joker from a tree or a bush in the rut near some water, and I'd get him coming down one of those beat up trails they got, and rattle him in and smoke the joker. I don't think it'd be any different.
It is here. I've hunted the desert a lot, and we don't have tree stands. Very, very few.
But
Blinds, maybe.
You could use a saddle in 35, just the same as you use one in Tennessee.
Yeah, but we don't have the trails like you guys got. I've been in Kansas. There's some trails in Kansas.
There's trails here too, man.
Not like back east, man. Even Globe. I hunt Globe. And it's tough. It's long range stuff. I shoot long range for those. I'm not a good bow hunter. I'll tell you that. I don't know.
I haven't. I'm gonna try it in December, maybe, unless I cut a lion track again like last year, because that's what screwed me up. I didn't go last year. Deer don't excite me like that. But killing, once you get in range of the deer, like we were talking about how the bows make it easy. I can 100% assure anybody. I shot for Hoyt. I've been to the IBO world a lot of times. I shot a compound for a long time. It is significantly easier than I pull that recurve out or pull out that longbow and go shoot.
I've been trying a longbow.
I go buy a Hoyt, and there ain't a deer safe in this world to 70 yards. They can see the arrow and fly that bull. I've never had a string ducked, and I've killed
saying that
deer.
Saying that though, Derek, what do you think the level of easiness is on trailing with a hound, or trying to find that fresh enough track to jump with a Leica?
I can trail yesterday's trail if I want to. Like my gray dog will trail yesterday's lion.
For 10 miles.
Huh?
For 10 miles or 1,000 yards? That's what I'm saying.
Well, he trailed it for 7, and I pulled him off at the private, and we did it in 4 or from daylight to 10:30. Like I toned him off. It wasn't like he quit it, but I don't want to trail for days. That is not fun for me. I'd rather,
You'd rather jump a hot track and tree it.
No, I'd rather catch one today.
Mm-hmm.
Not in 3 days, 4 days, and nobody can prove to me anybody trailed a lion for 5 days and then caught him. I think you went that direction and then bumped into him. Whether he was laid up on a kill, you didn't run him down
I
because the dog
think
wasn't fast enough. You know, if he
I
was
think if
squatting away
you
from you, they'll run off and leave you.
I
They're
think if
ignorant,
you were
not just dumb
serious
dogs.
about finding that out, I think you could find somebody that would let you go with them on a 5-day trail.
But how would they prove they trailed the lion for 5 days and caught the one they started with?
You
Unless
start
it
the
was
track,
followed.
you go back to the next day, and then start from where you left off.
But how do you know you didn't just get down in this canyon and he has came back through, or another one's came through, and that's the one you catch?
Well, it's the same with you. How do you know that you trailed that yesterday track when you didn't just jump a crossover?
What do you mean? How do I know I
Hmm.
didn't get? I trailed that because I mean, it's in the dust in Camp Verde. In Camp Verde, there's tracks everywhere. I
Yeah,
could
but
track with my eyeballs the whole time.
track for track.
Not every single track, but
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, we're talking about proven.
that's my whole point, though. Like if we do that, because that's what I always get. Well, how do you know your dog was trailing? Well, because he was in the front. Well, how do you know it wasn't a different, whatever? How do you know he wasn't trashing? Well, because I saw the track. It's the same thing, though. I'm just throwing back the same things I get.
Yeah.
If I did it with a red tick, nobody would question it. But because it's a funny looking dog, there's no way. A dog, any dog, any dog can smell 1 teaspoon of sugar in 100,000 gallons of water. Like that's how minute they can all smell. It has nothing to do. I don't believe cold nose, hot nose. I don't think that's a thing because all dogs can smell minute particles, but it's how much drive they have to get excited about that
Hmm.
is all it is. I believe. And I think because my dog grew up in this dirt, grew up in 35 and 36, 33 mostly, that's where they learned how to do stuff. So I think that my dogs probably will take colder stuff than somebody from back home with the same kind of dogs or somebody from
Well,
Alaska.
that's the same with any dog,
Yeah. Just like
except Cody King's.
I bet Jeremy's dogs will trail in worser conditions than their daddy would. And he's a
Well,
champion winning
even
judge.
state for state, Benny. You got
Yeah,
South New Mexico and you got North New Mexico. If you got a dog that's
completely different.
doing nothing
Completely
but
different. Yeah.
North New Mexico, he's gonna have a tougher time in South New Mexico, correct?
Yes. I had people from northern New Mexico contact me periodically wanting me to tell them how to get around in the Guadalupes that they wanted to go. They wanted to learn how to hunt lions in the dirt. And I said, well, all you got to do is just go. And it's, well, but we need this and that. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. You can come go hunt, but we'll hunt with your dogs or we'll hunt with my dogs. We're not going to mix different minded dogs. And nobody ever came. But there's somebody put in the comments earlier something about the dogs being acclimated for that country where you go. They're bred
Hmm.
that way and everything else. And that's really what we're fussing over is when somebody wants to go do things completely different and wants everybody else to do it that way. Well, what everybody's been doing. How long ago did Ben Lilly hunt this country?
And I
100,
and he
150? I don't know.
yeah, and he just walked across and hunted everything.
Yeah,
He had
whatever
no
those dogs.
units, right?
No. Yeah.
He had no nighttime limitations.
Yeah.
He didn't have no guide license. He had no hunting license. That guy just walked and hunted. Then he got lucky and got in with doing work for the government, which even
Yeah.
gave him more power, even though there was really not a lot of limitations.
He took presidents hunting. I don't remember what they called the organization back then where they wanted different species for their put on display,
Yeah.
Hmm.
dead species, But s- um if something goes back that far and contrary to what others think from time to time, these lines have been improved. They haven't
Hmm.
been improved like the new Volkswagen Bugs are an improvement in the Volkswagen's idea over the old Volkswagen Bugs that I grew up with. Well, the new people like the new Bug, and us old people, we kind of like that old Bug. And so, whatever suits you, do it. But
Herbie.
I'm not gonna tell those people with the new Bug, well, that's a piece of shit because my Bug, when I had a Baja Bug, I could pull the front tires off the ground. You'll never get the front tires off the ground on your Bug. That's where the engine is. There's too much weight. So it just depends on what you want. It depends on what you believe in and how you want to go about it. And then you need to circle yourself, get in this circle with like-minded people and go that direction. So, I surrounded myself with people that had better dogs than I had. I knew they had better dogs because I knew the names, I knew the people, I knew the lines. And so when I did that, I started getting better dogs and my dogs started performing better and my dogs were catching game that I could never get anything caught with before. I mean, we ran the fire out of everything. When me and Rick Dickerson started hunting together, I don't know, in the 80s, we could catch the hell out of those javelinas.
I
We
caught a few of
run the
those.
fire. Oh yeah, we could run the fire out of all kinds of stuff, but we really wanted to catch. We could catch some bears, but we really wanted to catch some lions. It was the biggest challenge, you know. And we hunted in the snow. I've hunted in the snow, and once I had dogs that we didn't need the snow. Well, I'm a fair weather guy. I don't like getting cold, and the snow is very cold. And for me, it was a bigger challenge to hunt without the snow. And I know that there's conditions in the snow that are not as easy as fresh
Oh,
snow.
it's horrible.
I
Getting stuck.
Yeah.
Cold.
Would
Yeah.
say
Well, no, but even for trailing, we like to give Robert Chase crap, and I enjoy giving Robert Chase crap too. But I will acknowledge that when the track freezes and it melts and it freezes again, those dogs aren't going to smell anything. They might smell it later on in the day when it starts thawing out again. But then there's people like Derek here that he's not interested in that track because he doesn't see that as a fresh enough track to go catch. And then I've had enough experience that sometimes those tracks lead to a kill and it's just a different mindset. That's all. And it's a different mindset from northern New Mexico to southern New Mexico. It's a different
Yeah.
mindset from the game that you're pursuing versus the game that the next door neighbor's pursuing. And realistically, if everybody would just say, hey, that's good for you, that's not good for me, and go your separate ways, that's fine.
and
And,
that's what grinds me up there. Because if a guy was like, "Well, I just like to do it this way," that's what I always say. What suits you suits you. But when a guy's like, "You can't, your dogs ain't shit, they can't, you can't, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "They're too furry." Well, so are fucking coyotes and wolves, and they live down here. You know. It,
yeah, but I hate coyotes and wolves.
well, yeah. I mean, who don't?
That's not directed
It's
at
those
you.
it's those pointy ears, man. It's the pointy ears. That's all it is.
Damn
If you
But
fluffy
put
tail
some droopy ears on a Leica, we'd all like them.
It's
I can
just
I can I can assure you that there are better lines of dogs out there than the good lines of dogs. There's even more supreme lion dogs, and I just
Without a
became
name.
more. Huh?
Without a
Yes,
name.
yes.
I'd have to see it. I think if you're any good, somebody knows who you are. The world is too small, and
That's
everybody's
not.
looking.
That's absolutely not true, man.
Everybody's
No,
been saying that my whole life. Well, Joe's got one behind the barn you
Nope.
never heard of. Whoop all their asses. If that was the case, somebody would have heard of him. That's
but
what,
Derek, one of the big
Well,
differences for you moving into the Southwest is you're putting your comparisons onto making money in the deal. And there's a lot of people out there that don't make any money in the deal that have those caliber of dogs. And it's just a different scenario. Just like I said, a completely different scenario.
But if the guy never comes out from behind the barn with his dogs, how do we know they're any good? Because
We don't.
everybody
Because he goes out there by himself.
but then he
That's the
could be a
guy you
liar.
don't know.
If we don't know, how do we know he's got better dogs than you or Casey or?
Because somebody hunted with him at one point.
But who?
I know guys that nobody knows that has good dogs and will catch. I know girls that have good dogs. That
Well, a lot of people
nobody
got
knows.
good dogs, but we're talking about a whole nother level of dog.
No, we're talking about we don't need to be known. They don't want to be known. There's people out
They're
there
not. Yeah.
that do not
I
want
didn't.
their name
I
brought up.
personally, I did not hunt so that anybody knew me. In
But that was
fact,
in
my
your day
misery
different.
started. No, my misery started when I came out from under the rock.
But in your day, it
That
was different. You could be unknown 20, 30, well, 30, 40 years ago, whatever. Now, the world is too little. You know, somebody knows everybody. I don't know. And it don't matter. But all the guy can judge is what he sees. So saying, oh, I
I
know
bet
guys
you.
got dogs better than blah, blah, that doesn't change anything because nobody
I
sees
bet
it.
you
So it
Kirk
might as well not
Price
exist.
knows
Huh?
somebody. I bet you Kirk Price knows somebody that has better dogs than anybody, but doesn't want to be put on his show or don't want to be mentioned. I bet you
Well,
Warner Glenn, Richard Dickerson, they all know this guy they hunted with,
but
but
yeah,
he just
but
doesn't want to be known.
back east, everybody knows old man such and such got the
Yeah,
goods. Like those bear pen plots were always like
yeah.
legendary in the day.
Not out west. There's a
But
lot of people that aren't known.
if only one guy, my point is, if only one guy hunted with him one time, then his dogs might as well not exist. So they're not in the conversation of what's available because they're not available because nobody's ever seen them.
Doesn't
You
mean
know,
that people don't have his line.
but they can if nobody's seen it, it might as well not exist. So it don't count.
Nobody knows hardly the guy I got my line from him, and the first guy that I hunted with, nobody knows him at all.
Is he
He
still?
was just a loner guy.
But is he still currently relevant and better than everybody else going?
Oh, he's too old now to do anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But you don't have to be known to be a good houndsman.
but no, but if we're talking about who's got the best dogs available, if they're not available, then it doesn't matter what anybody
They're
says.
always available to somebody, and somebody always has that line. But it doesn't mean
And
they're going to
that's my,
say it's that line.
that's my whole point, though.
Yeah,
My
but you're
whole
saying
point
that you have to. This is where we're going to disagree because you're saying if they don't know them and no one brings them up, then who knows what it. There's people who know that guy,
What
but
I'm saying is,
I've hunted
if
with people that say
my whole
don't mention
point
my
is,
name.
if Benny could buy a dog off a guy, but you can or I can't, or if you can buy a dog off a guy,
Mhm.
but Joe up the road can't, then those dogs aren't available to people to buy because you don't need a good line to get started with. That is my whole thing with all of that was for a new guy coming in, it's very difficult to get into that in crowd, the good lines,
But
whatever.
there's other lines out there you can get in with.
But you don't know who to believe. Like everybody's got a Jeff Allen dog. Everybody's dog's out of Jeff Allen or out of bigger staff or so. You know, you hear all
Mhm.
these names. This goes back to Warner Glenn stuff. You know, you hear all that. But I mean, I can tell you that Leica is direct out of Werner Glenn's big male, whatever. That's direct out of Brownie off Dub Evans back in the day. Straight line all the way down.
Yeah, but you're
You
talking about a guy you met or a guy you've known for 30 years.
That's my thing. If you're a new guy, you don't have any of that.
Well, then you got to not be the new guy no more. You got
Well,
to get in with people.
that's my thing. That's what I think we need to work on out here is making it more accessible to the new guy, or else we're all going to get old and die, and there won't be anybody left.
Well, I don't have to share the water out of my pond if I don't want no one to drink it.
If you That don't make any. That has nothing to do with
That
what
makes plenty of sense. If I don't want no one to know who I am, and I don't care about saying my dog's good to you.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. But you're not the guy saying, then we can't say if nobody with good dogs will sell to a guy and the guy says, well, I can't get a good dog around here. You can't be like, well, Chris has good dogs, but he won't sell you one. Well, so it don't matter if they exist or not. If the guy can't get into the line.
No, but I'll tell you to go buy a Jeff Allen dog or something.
Yeah, but everybody says they got a Jeff Allen dog. How do you can't call Jeff Allen if you don't know nobody that knows him?
So if Vinny told you to go buy a dog from a guy, you wouldn't believe him?
What? Yeah, but I've been here for 4 years. The first year I didn't talk to Benny. I didn't talk to you. I didn't talk to nobody.
Yeah, but you've been here 4 years and you just went to a rendezvous that there was a lot of those guys there.
And none of those dogs would suit me now, though. What I've already got going, like I'm going a different route.
But like Vinny said, you gotta surround yourself with the circle you're in. If you're not going to have a Jeep guy buy a Toyota. So now you got to find. Well, good luck in Arizona, right? Because there's not a lot of Leica people in Arizona.
No, I just got to bring in what I got to bring in. But
so you're the one that has to be that guy.
But my thing is, like, if it takes a guy 2-3 years to you gotta get in the in crowd, like your money's no good because nobody will talk to you. That was my whole thing. Like you can't look at a guy and be like, that's why falconry is so tiny, because you have to apprentice for 2 years. You got to meet a guy, hang out with him for a year or two, convince him to mentor you for 2 years. It's a whole dog and pony show. And
Do you think it's that different in hounds? You have to hang out with the guy and hunt with him before he gives you a dog? You think, should it be any different?
Should it be
I'm not
different?
just going to give you a dog if I don't know you. Now, if you're coming and hunting with me for a couple years or a year, and I'm like, hey, do you want one of these dogs?
No, I'm talking about if a guy's trying to buy a dog, right? And he's not from here. And the guy's like, oh, it's out of Jeff Allen. But everything you saw on Facebook the last 2 weeks is out of Jeff Allen stuff. Apparently, everybody's got those dogs. So either somebody's lying or they're
dogs.
But you know what I mean? Everybody says that stuff, is what I'm saying. And as a new guy, you don't know who's lying, especially for me, coming from a land full of guys they'll tell you that Joker's the real deal, and then he won't do nothing but tree possums or something, you know. You can't, houndsmen, we lie. Like, we be lying in general. And you can't trust strangers. So you try to talk to a guy and try to figure out, and you can't hunt with nobody around this place. It's hard. It's a tough deal. It takes a long time. So that was a big hard thing for me coming in, was trying to figure out anything that was figure out the real from the bullshit, And
that's part of hanging out with somebody, man.
Well, how do you do that? That's what I mean. Do you what?
I worked with the guy who had hounds, and he got me into it, and I hung out with him, and I watched him. He showed me how to train them, and
but that's what I'm saying. You got lucky having that opportunity, though, because most guys don't work with a guy that has hound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most guys don't, like most kids right now that maybe watch this or saw your video where you took your boys out and they want to grow up and do that. Where the hell do they start? And they get out of high school and get their own little trailer and their little piece of property up in the cedars they saved up for, and they want to go buy dogs. They're going to end up buying whatever's on Facebook that looks all right.
That's trial and error, man. I've been there too.
And I just wasn't doing that. It's like, I come from dogs. I know that is the route to quitting, or pulling your hair out. And so I couldn't find any information in a year and a half or whatever. So I just brought in
Jeremiah.
dogs. Huh?
You hooked up with Jeremiah?
Yeah. That's the third dog over there. But he don't know nobody either, really. He got lucky, kind of. He just met a guy that ended up giving him he got 2 mate dogs and got himself going. But he don't know nobody. Like, he couldn't have put me in touch with either of you fellas. And he's younger than I am.
I think people know more people than they think. Just running around 3B.
You run into people.
And that's just what you got to look at. Undercover guy. He knows nobody, and I thought he's undercover guy. If he came to me and said, "Give me a dog," I'd probably give him a dog, as long as he got rid of that goddamn plot.
She ain't a bad dog. I don't mind her. She was trailing good. She got stuck, and she's slower than I like. But
she's been on bear. I know they've been on bear. Yeah. They've been on bear with me. So.
Yeah, he was telling me about that. Like, she ain't a bad dog. She's pretty.
Yeah. I got to get up at 3. I think this is enough of this crap. Enough of your Leica crap. I'm
So
sick of
remember,
it.
boys and girls, buy those primitive type dogs. You'll like it.
Yep. If you guys want to catch something, just buy a hound. If you guys want to go run around, go run with Derek and pointy ear
I
dog.
will say, I do walk a hell of a lot. So there's that.
Yep. Benny, you got any final words?
You guys go out, do something, and don't worry about what the hell everybody else is doing.
That's a
Do it
fact right
alone
there.
and do it alone, and you'll make your own way.
I've always kind of done it alone. I hunt with my kids. There's a very few people. There's one person that I hunted with for 5 years, and we met on the internet. She showed up, and we hunted. That's what we did. And no matter what, we hunted. Whether we
we
argued,
go.
whether her dogs caught it, whether my dogs caught it, it didn't matter. I used her to train my dog because I lost my rig dog. So I think sometimes you got to make the effort and reach out. If you really want to hunt and go out and hunt, like you said, you got the internet. There's plenty of people I hooked up with her on the internet and I said, come out, we'll hunt. I had a trailer for her set up just for her. She came out so much. She would call me and say, are your sniveling kids sick? I say, no. And I swear to God, she'd show up and one of my kids would be coughing on her or something. And she'd call me 3 days after she left and say, your kid got me sick.
So I met Brett Vaughn and I met Mike Leonard. I met Missy. I can tell you, I met a whole bunch of people on the internet. What you do at those chance meetings matters.
You just got to take the chance and go. If you don't like them, don't go back.
That's exactly right.
I mean, you met Jeremiah. Now you're hunting with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
There you
And I
go.
hunted with Jared once. He asked me if I wanted to, and I went. You know.
And you learned how he hunted.
So-
You don't like how he trails for 18 days and walks 500 miles an hour.
No, we had a good time. That was a hot, screaming hot track. It was that yellowgrass kicked our ass that day. That was a bad deal. I liked hunting with Jared. I like that a lot.
Start you an Arizona Leica group, and you'll probably pick up a bunch of people, and you could probably start running like it.
I'd just be by my damn self all the time.
Well, there you go. Go catch them by yourself. One in the tree don't matter if you have 10 people there or one, as long as you're there. Right, Benny? Let's just end it on that. Let's just agree to disagree that our dogs are way better than Derek's.
Hey, I don't have it. I have a Pyrenees that located a semi-rare rattlesnake at my back porch tonight.
There you go.
I
I
dispatched
ain't got one of those. That's a legit deal.
at the Pyrenees. Said, there you go. Look
You
up
can keep that
Masagua.
talent.
Masagua rattlesnake. That's the third one we've had that I've got
Wow.
the pleasure to dispatch at my house.
Nice.
And my Pyrenees was the one that got it.
Beautiful.
So there, get yourself
There you
a
go.
hunting Pyrenees, a snake hunting Pyrenees. And if you don't want to do that, ain't nobody got shit on me.
Hey, Benny,
Exactly.
Night,
on
folks.
the snake dog.
Good night, Benny.
Good night.
Derek, thanks for the argument. We'll do it again next week. All right. Later. All right, guys, you can listen to this argument on Friday if you want to hear Benny and Derek go at it and me try to keep the peace. But in the end, run what dog you want to run. Find somebody to run with if you want somebody. Don't be afraid. Go to azwda.com, become a member, because we're about to do some things here in the fall when they start doing some things. So I thought I got to say, you guys have a good weekend. And I'm going to go try to take a disabled veteran on an elk hunt. Be safe, guys. Remember, keep your powder dry and be safe. Until next week.
Well,